Alright, I think we're live. It says we're live, so we're going to say that we're live. So, welcome back once again, everybody, here to the UTLR Cup Series. Today's race coming to you from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, or at least the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They're going to be racing in the Pennzoil 200, I believe, so that's going to come out to about 134 laps in the daytime here at Las Vegas, a mile-and-a-half oval that everybody seems to personally enjoy. So hopefully they all end up having a good time. However, again, this is the third race of the year. First race did end up going to Evan Hilton. He does have a backup driver here tonight. And then as far as your winner from last week, Mr. Jon Dean in the 47, he will be starting on the pole with Zach Clater right beside him. Again, Brad Ranger filling in for that 42 with Jackson Stotts. He was here in the booth with me last week. He's starting fourth. Luke Smith and Jack Barnhart make up row number 3 with Nick Stills and Michael Shackelford making up row number 4. Diamante Hamlin and Dakota Humphrey making up row 5. Chris Hackney and Stephen Davis the second making up row number 6. Row number 7 is going to be made up of Colton Kinney and Danny Byerly. Row number 8 will be the 24 machine of Alan Drake and the 5 machine of Mike Osborne. The 17th and 18th positions will be Brian Bushnell and Cody Bonner, not Condi Bonner. Row 10 will be Tanner Herring and Jacob Willingham. From there, row 11 will consist of Richard Denny and Dylan Blevins, and row number 12 will be Alex Farrell and Nick Jensen. So we're going to go ahead and get this appearing to be looking live. Again, that is SP there in the number 7 machine, but we're going to hang out here with Dusty Stud as he is your pole sitter here for today's action. Again, the Pennzoil Las Vegas 200 presented by Jiffy Lube, but we're going to say it's presented by Dubby Energy, and we are officially Green Flag Racing here from virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And just like that, continuing to stay side by side through turn number 1, we see Jon Dean holding that bottom line and getting out to a nice little bit of a lead here. Unfortunately, Zach Clater not able to get anything going with that high line. That's going to allow the 42 machine of Brad Ranger to go ahead and slide up and contend for second. But right now, Jon Dean already breaking away. That's at least 2.5 car lengths as they're coming around through lap number 1. Jon Dean with a comfortable lead. As we're going to go ahead and cycle through the field at this point in time, we're going to hop in with Colton Kinney. He was driving the 8 machine, driving the guaranteed rate Chevy here today. He's about halfway into the field, fighting it off with Brian Bushnell and Michael Shackelford there in the number 20 machine. As we move on to Deport Eddie, a.k.a. Nick Stills, he's hanging on to his top 10 spot, continuing to hold that low line, and that seems to be the preferred line as you come through 3 and 4 here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And it looks like I'm already having a little bit of a lag issue here on my side, so I'll try to see if that's just on mine or if that's through everybody's. Since we already got a car up into the wall here, as we will cycle back through and see, and that was indeed Kinney who got up into the wall. You can tell that front end's absolutely beat to all crud there for him, and the number 1 machine of Tanner Herring did go around as well, so we'll catch back up with the front drivers as Luke Smith's going to try to contest it here at the line, and it looks like they are going to go ahead and slow up. So just like that, on lap number 2, we get our first caution of the afternoon, or early evening, I should say. So again, Kinney and Herring already getting into it here on lap number 2 as we are going around to lap number 3. Not ideally the start there for the RCR guy or the Trackhouse driver. And again, I do apologize for the view being a little bit different from where we traditionally do have it. Again, I was trying to work it through Twitch to make it just all appear on one screen. However, it was not going to be friendly enough to even be able to host a stream here tonight. So hopefully it does not come through choppy for you guys. If it is, then I do apologize. So again, drivers coming around. Pit lane is officially open, and it looks like everybody's going to go ahead and get in their first adjustments of the evening here on lap number 3, soon to be lap number 4. As you can see, Deport already worked his way up to 3rd position here before they entered the pits. As we will go ahead and wait out the pit cycle here, but in the meantime, we'll just do a quick 30-second break, and then we'll be right back. And as we are coming back again, Dubby being our presenting sponsor for the season, and as you can see there on your screen, Drip Slide has used some strategy to move up to the front, but that is going to be Alex Farrell there in the 16 machine, who has worked his way all the way up to the front. He chose not to bid. So that is Dakota Humphrey there in second. Mike Osborne comes out third. And then your two leaders from earlier, Jon Dean and Luke Smith, have worked their way back into the top five after their adjustments. After that, it appears that it'll be Deport, Eddie, as we're just going to go ahead and continue to look through the field. Diamante Hamlin's back there, as well as Zach Clater. And then the 21 machine of Zach Barnhart, first time we've said his name all season. As now we are coming to the line for your official choose. Alex is going to choose to go high, allowing the low line to be opened up here, and that is going to be Dakota Humphrey, who does take that bottom line. So you can kind of see a little bit of strategy already working itself in here as we're riding along with Mr. Jackson Stotts in the 31 machine. It's going to be restarting 9th. Barnhart choosing the outside. He'll be restarting 10th. Brad Ranger back there in the 42. Will be starting 12th with Shackelford on his side. Then it'll be Bushnell and Hackney. After that, it appears it'll be Blevins and Bonner. And that appears to be making up the first few rows of action here for you guys. Again, a 2-car caution came out on lap number 2. Coming out of 1 and 2, Colton Kinney getting up into the wall. He got mixed up with Tanner Herring. And that is how we are coming to the green this time by. As you see a little bit of damage there on the Byerly machine. Again, the 42 being driven by Brad Ranger. Traditionally, he's in the 22, but today he is in a substitute role. So we're going to go ahead and cycle our way back up to the front. Or at least right along with LRS. I think that might be the closest that we could get, as we are back to green flag racing here at Las Vegas, now on lap number 6 of the first stage. Again, 134 laps. They're going to be going 200 miles here, not the full 400, as again, Alex Farrell already out to a hot start, but right behind him is going to be Jon Dean. There on the low side, he's got Dakota Humphrey with him, and it looks like Smith's going to try to run that middle lane with Farrell. Dean working his way underneath Farrell now. As we're going to go ahead and cycle up to Alex. He's going to end up leading another lap, this time being under green, but Jon Dean is not going to make it easy as he's continuing to hold the low line. Right behind them, Luke Smith continuing to hang on to that third position with a vice grip. Then you've got Dakota Humphrey, and then after that, it's 2 by 2, about 5 rows back. Coming into 3 now, as we see Jon Dean has officially cleared the 16 machine, and it looks like Alex Farrell is going to start dropping back here very, very quickly as he's been jammed to the outside. Smith's going to get by him. Humphrey's going to get by him there at the line, but Jon Dean continues to hang on to the lead here at Las Vegas. Coming around, Dean continuing to hold about a half car length as they start heading down the backstretch. Then it's 2 by 2 behind them, then a little bit of single file, then more 2 by 2. A lot of side-by-side action here early on. A lot of jockeying for position here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Some patience could be used, but we'll have to see how it goes over these next few laps as Jon Dean starting to open it up a little bit more. Dakota Humphrey able to get underneath Luke Smith, trying to hold it ahead of Diamante Hamlin as we've got another car up into the wall. That's going to be Chris Hackney. He's got another car around as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they do call a caution there at that point in time, and it does look like they are going to go ahead and call a caution at this moment in time. So a very sudden caution there. Didn't catch what would have caused it to begin with, but it does look like Alan Drake is back there, and he may have been collected there with Chris Hackney as well. So Hackney actually now coming back up to reclaim his spot. So we will have to see what all this noise is about. But again, appreciate everybody tuning in here on the UTLR Live, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, or through your Twitch streams. Either way, we appreciate everybody tuning in for the amount of time that they are able to. So it looks like we've got another pit cycle coming through. Again, not quite sure what we saw from as far as a caution what caused it before, because we did see Hackney go around in the 48 machine. We may have to catch up with him here in just a little bit. But more pit stops here early at the Pennzoil 200 presented by Dubby Energy, and we'll be right back on the other side of pit stops.
I can't believe I missed kickoff.
Come on, Dad. Didn't you know you can bet live and bet US?
Oh. Wait. How did you know that?
Sign up at BetUS today and get a 200% bonus.
And there you go, guys. BetUS Sportsbook also hopping on for a few races here as a sponsor for UTLR and us here in the booth. So again, Jon Dean coming out the leader. He's already got some big damage there on the front of his car. But Dakota Humphrey's going to come out second, Luke Smith third, Bushnell fourth, and Diamante Hamlin coming out fifth. So I'll have to wonder what could have potentially happened, especially to the 62 machine of Deport Eddie, a.k.a. Nick Stills, is there. We catch up with him. He's pretty deep back in the field. He's about 10th or 11th place. Looking at him as Clater, he started on the outside of row number 1. He is going to be coming around in about 8th as he just fell off your screen there off the bottom. Again, VG Drip Slide, Dakota Humphrey making a solid run here for the RCR boys. Currently hanging on to second place. As again, we're going to come to the choose cone. Jon Dean choosing to go to the high side, I believe, and it looks like a lot are joining him. And that's going to be Irate Pluto joining on the bottom, a.k.a. the Brian Bushnell. He's going to move his way up to the front row from 4th, and it looks like he's got company in the form of Diamante Hamlin, as well as Mike Osborne, first time that we've called his name out here today, as far as being on track, with Shackelford right behind him as well. So again, the first 3 cars off of pit road all decided to go ahead and take the high line in this. Alex Farrell also joining them on that high line. He's going to be starting on the outside of road number 4 next to Shackelford. Very interesting choice to be made, especially here. We've got 2 cautions under our belts, and if you were with us for the Brickyard, it was a whole lot of the same. There ended up being 9 cautions throughout the entire race. It got to the point where we needed to go single file for restarts, and really it became the Jon Dean and Evan Helton show. But again, Evan Helton not driving tonight, I do believe, due to injury to a broken wrist. So hope that he gets better here very, very soon. But we'll go ahead and cycle through all your drivers here at the bottom of your screen before we can get back up to Mr. Jon Dean. And we are back to Green Flag Racing here at Las Vegas. So again, just another short little bit of a caution, and no major changes up here at the front, is that it continues to be Jon Dean out front, as we've got a car slipping and sliding further on back. We'll have to see if we can catch and see who that was. Not sure that we're seeing anybody right now, but again, Dean hanging on. Bushnell ended up going high. Now he's going to try to go low, so a lot of great defense here, but now he slides up. He's got Dakota Humphreys coming underneath him. Humphreys is going to get past him, and Dakota Humphrey is back up into second, with Jon Dean continuing to lead the pace. Alex Farrell leading that bottom line now as they're coming in through turn number 1. He's going to hold Bushnell high. He may be able to get to Humphrey as well. Does not appear so as they're coming down the backstretch. Coming down the backstretch, Dakota Humphrey has pulled up door to door with Jon Dean as they head down to turn number 3. We are side by side through at least the first 7 rows of cars. Coming out here through 3 and 4, and we are going to come to the line. I do believe it is going to end up being Humphrey who ends up leading that lap there in the 3 machine, if only by a nose on the car. Continuing to look back, and we've already got some 3 wide action here with Hamilton forcing the issue there in the 19. That is a battle for third, as you can see there on your screen, and it looks like some more cars are going to try to make it even more interesting. Luke Smith trying to find his way through, as well as Nick Stills. Jon Dean continuing to fight with Dakota Humphrey, again coming to the line, this time the 3 clearly having the lead at the line. See if we could change the camera angle here and see if we could get a look back here from Dusty Stud, aka Jon Dean. He was your pole sitter here today. Also, last week's winner at the Brickyard. And now it looks like Dakota Humphrey may have Jon Dean cleared, and he does. So now it is the 3 machine of Dakota Humphrey back out front. He actually ended up winning one of the duels back a few weeks ago. Since then, has not been able to get back onto the top of the podium yet. However, does look like we may have a new contender here for the leader there at the bottom of your screen. That is the number 19 machine of Diamante Hamilton, and he's going to try to make a big run, going from third, getting a huge push here from Brian Bushnell, and now he's going to be underneath Dakota Humphrey. That is for the lead as they come through 3 and 4. As we're going to try to cycle back through Deport Eddy just a little bit behind the action here, as now we'll ride along here with the 3 machine of Dakota Humphrey. There you can see his gamer tag in the lower right-hand corner. But again, Jon Dean trying to make that top line work. You see it behind Humphrey and Dean right now. Everybody 2 by 2 by 2. Good, 10 rows back. As now Dean's going to continue to carry momentum. He's got that high line momentum with him. And now we've got Dakota Humphrey back sliding into a 3-wide situation. Fortunately, Clater is going to back out of it. But Diamante Hamlin, he's got the low line with Brian Bushnell working as now the 3 is going to work his way up. And now as we look further back, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars around back there. Who all was involved? It looks like Jack Boy might have been involved. Oh, wow, that was not what anybody wanted. I think Brad Ranger might have been involved. Drake's involved. One Bad's involved. Ooh, just a calamity of cars getting caught up in that mess there. So we are going to go under caution for the 3rd time here in stage number 1. This time cars just getting into each other. And there you see INF in the number 21 machine. He is just trying to stay out of the weeds. However, he finds himself being continuously stuck in said weeds. There's the number 11 there of Jacob Willingham, working his way back up to the field. And there's Alex Farrell. You see him in the 16 here, and with these next-gen cars, he will continue to run the 16. However, when they run the 2020 cars, he will be running the 88. A huge SVG fan, and he got all kinds of mad when SVG said that he was going to take the 88 instead of the 16. So he's just trying to be an ultimate SVG fan here. SP showing a decent showing here in the number 7 machine here on a part-time status, was a full-time racer. Also the head admin for the Xfinity Series. So we'll go ahead and take another break. Again, our 3rd caution of this stage. We'll be right back in 30 seconds, and we'll get back to green flag action here from Las Vegas. Race off the pit road shows to be a good one as Jon Dean and Dakota Humphrey continue to hang on to those lead 2 positions. Again, more damage coming to the 47 machine. There you see Diamante Hamlin, and there's Nick Jensen in the 7. Like I said, he helps run Xfinity here on a sub basis. He's up to 4th place there in the number 7 machine. Zach Clater running the 44. Then you've got Bushnell in the 9. Alex Farrell in the 16 with Luke Smith behind him in the 43 machine. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in here on either Facebook, YouTube, or on Twitch. So hopefully it's not a complete stop motion show. If it is, please let me know in the comments, and I will try to reconfigure some parts of my stream here. I did try to go full screen with Twitch, however, it would have just made it even more blocky. So that's why we have this view again here this week. Should be having that fixed up here in a little while, but not only that, we do have some news as far as the broadcast goes. Here, it will be changing up in just a couple weeks' time. We'll get into that at the end of the broadcast. But again, the 47 machine choosing to go with the high line. Dakota Humphrey's going to go with him. Diamante Hamlin's going to be the first car to take the low line. He's got Bushnell with him. Will anybody else join him? It looks like Luke Smith and Michael Shackelford are going to go ahead and join the 4A into the bottom line. A lot of cars now choosing the top line over the low line. So we'll continue to look around and see what it will look like. So again, it'll be Dean and Hamlin on the front row. Then you'll have Humphrey and Bushnell row number 2. And then you will have Smith and Jensen in row number 3. Shackelford going with Clater in the 4th row. And then in the 5th row, I want to say that's going to be Farrell. And I do want to say that might be Hackney. They're on the inside of row number 5, and it is there in the Ally car. So we'll be able to get this rocking and rolling once again. 3 cautions here in stage number 1. Very similar to what we saw at Indianapolis, but again, this is what we get when we get 25 drivers on the track. Not a whole lot of practice between all of them, as we are back to green flag action once again here from the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and a fantastic jump there from that top line, especially those in the Humphrey and Jon Dean camps. Dean slamming all the way to the bottom. He's got Dakota Humphrey coming with him as they're coming down the backstretch, single file from first on back into about 6th or 7th, and then you get back to your 2 wide racing. Diamante Hamlin now going to go low with Nick Jensen going high. He's got Zach Clater coming up to his back bumpers. They're coming through 3 and 4. Jon Dean continuing to lead, but it won't be by much. From here, the number 7 machine's going to take a huge dive underneath. He's going to get underneath Humphrey, and he's going to try to get underneath Jon Dean. That is going to be for the lead here in the number 7 machine. Nick Jensen started in 24th, has now worked his way back up to the front of the field. And will he be able to get past Jon Dean? Coming through 3 and 4, Dean cuts the nose off of Jensen. Jensen trying to hold that low line before he becomes the middle car here. He's able to stick it in front of Dakota Humphrey, and he will hang on to second place through this lap. Continuing to race around, Jon Dean now out to about a 2-car length lead. He's got Nick Jensen behind him. As we'll go ahead and switch camera angles here and see if we could pick up anything going on behind Mr. Dusty Stud. Again, solid racer. Again, getting his big win there at the Brickyard last week. Looking to go back-to-back here at Sin City. So hanging on to the lead, but Nick Jensen now up in his draft. That low line being led by Dakota Humphrey, as Jensen's going to get up into the wall just a little bit here on our stream, and that's going to allow Clater to go ahead and dive underneath. Will he be able to hang on to it long term? It does not appear so. He'll surrender second place, and now he's going to surrender third to Luke Smith, but that's going to be a side-by-side battle, and there you see it. The front 2 cars are gone. However, the rest of the field starting to get bunched up, almost coming out in a triangle here, coming through 3 and 4. Again, right now it's going to be Jon Dean, Nick Jensen, Luke Smith, your first 3 drivers, as we're going to go ahead and cycle through the field here. Kenny is going to dive down to the bottom as Stephen Davis gets up into the wall there in the number 23. That's what shot him back. Nick Stills currently in a battle with Mike Osborne here, driving the number 5 machine, and he's got Brian Bushnell behind him. After that, again, we've got Zach Clater currently in a battle with Diamante Hamlin, trying to work his way back up. He's back up into the top 5, now looking at a top 4. Again, Luke Smith just touching the wall there just a little bit there on our stream. From there, you come to Dakota Humphrey, who has slid back quite a ways here in the 3 machine, and now trying to work his way back up as he's in the side-by-side battle with Michael Shackelford. Jackson Stotts continuing to work his way up the field, currently sitting in about halfway point, so I'd say about 12th or 13th. He's got the 77 right in front of him. He's going to use him to his advantage and try to slingshot past Tanner Herring, as it looks like he may be able to, as Shackelford's going to get loose, and he's all the way up on the high side now. As now we are going to ride with the 77. That is Dylan Blevins, as he's going to try to get to the back bumper of Diamante Hamilton. And just continuing to make this low line try to work. But there you see the 3 and the 1 machines there. That's Tanner Herring and Dakota Humphrey just continuing to make this high line work. And here we ride with Shackelford again, trying to get that car stabled out. However, having a little bit of a wobble issue, may have to wonder if tires may have already become a thing. 42 gets bumped up out of the way there by the 9, so Bushnell gets into Ranger just a little bit. As here we see Byerly trying to go 3 wide with Hamilton and Stotts continuing to try to make that high line work, and he's going to use that momentum to carry himself through. The 19 sliding back big time, so have to see what's going on with that 19 machine. Brad Ranger continuing to hang on with this number 42. He's just running about halfway, maybe a little bit further back than half right now. And there is Brian Bushnell still in a battle with Shackelford, and now Alex Farrell. He's trying to make his way back up through the field there in the number 16 machine. Alan Drake starting to head towards the back of the field. He's got Jacob Willingham with him, and he's got a couple cars behind him as well. So not the cleanest run here for the 24. Hopefully that could get changed up here when we get closer to the stage. And then from here, we'll ride along with Diamante Hamlin as we've got one car up against the wall spinning. I don't quite know who that was, but that came from the lead. I do want to say that might have been Osborne, but there we see him on the screen. We'll have to go ahead and cycle back and see who that possibly was. Not quite sure. I don't know if we're going to be able to catch who it was. It may have very well been Crimson Sniper, the number 1 machine, as he's kind of all on his own coming down the backstretch. So the race is going to go ahead and continue. That is the one big rule here with UTLR. If it's a 1-car spin, then it will only stay green. If it's multiple cars, then hey, we'll go ahead throw to yellow. But as you see it right now, Jon Dean out front. He's got Dakota Humphreys with him, followed by Smith, Clater, and Jensen, your top 5, as we come back to the front of the field. No cars really able to break away from any others here at the beginning of the race. Again, we've already had 3 cautions, so have to think that these guys are going to be very much on edge here. And again, Nick Jensen, he was riding along just fine, and then where did he go? Oh, wow. Okay. Not what I was expecting, because he was doing just fine for the longest time. And there we see it. The number 7 machine, who started in 24th, had worked his way all the way up to the front of the field, has now either lagged out or backed out of the race for one reason or another. So the 7 is no longer in contention for this race. So very unfortunate to see there from the 7 machine, as Nick Jensen, he was having a fantastic run there in relief in the 7. But we move back up to the front. That allows Nick Stills to move his way up to the 5th position, right along with Luke Smith, trying to hang on to the 4th spot. However, it looks like Stills is going to be able to get him there. And look at that. In the 50 machine, who is aligned with RCR, going to be Danny Byerly, going to try to make that high lane work, but now he's going to end up getting shuffled back. And I do believe that may be Jackson Stotts, who is now behind the 43. It is in that number 31 machine. He's going to try to make that high line work. Deport trying to close the door there on the 43. He's not able to do so there. And now we got some death wobble coming from the 62, but however, he is able to save. As this race continues on, we still have Jon Dean with Dakota Humphrey out front, Zach Clater in 3rd, Luke Smith 4th, Danny Byerly now hanging on to that top 5 spot. Nick Stills trying to find his way through, as now Clater's going to look down low and try to make an issue here, as Jon Dean's forced to go through the middle, nearly making it 3 wide. Dakota Humphrey thought about making it 3 wide. He chooses to make it back into 2 wide stance, and Jon Dean will continue to lead. Again, Jon Dean, seeing side-by-side action by him, should be allowing him to break away from the pack. However, this driving and this draft, it is just not allowing anybody to break away. But still, Jon Dean now going super defensive, having to defend multiple lines as he's coming through 3 and 4, still barely hanging on to the lead, as it looks like Zach Clater and Dakota Humphrey are going to be side-by-side as they come to the line. Will it be Humphrey? I do believe that ended up being the 44 car who ended up taking that one. And with that, that was the stage as well. So Jon Dean coming away with a big stage 1 victory, and I do believe it is going to give Dakota Humphrey the 2 spot. 3 spot would go to Zach Clater, Luke Smith coming home 4th, Danny Byerleaf coming home 5th. So a solid showing there from those top 5, especially Byerly getting some big runs there towards the end of the stage. So we'll go ahead and let this cycle out as we get to stage number 2 here from Las Vegas. Again, Jon Dean, your winner of stage number 1. But again, the big news right now is going to be that Nick Jensen, there you see him in the 7 machine, he is out of the race. As we come back to the front of the field, as we are back to green flag action, Jon Dean with Zach Clater, and then you've got Dakota Humphrey, Luke Smith, Danny Byerly, Nick Stills, Mike Osborne with Michael Shackelford there in the 4th row. And then you got Diamante Hamlin and Chris Hackney. Those were your top 10 as we get stage number 2 underway here for this Pennzoil 200. Again, Jon Dean slowly breaking out to a nice early lead. It looks like every car got their fix and got their repair in. A little bit of a lag there. Not quite sure where it came from. Not sure if it's on the broadcast side or if it's through one of the car's sides there as well. But there we see Dakota Humphrey getting all up into the 43's grill right there. And now the 3 down onto the 50. 3 wide is not where you want to be. And now Luke Smith with Nick Stills behind him, able to break away, and now the top 4 now have about a 2-car gap back to the rest of the field. Right now, it will be Dean, followed by Clater. Luke Smith thinking about going outside. However, you've got Nick Stills diving down to the inside. It's going to be a battle for 3rd, and it looks like he wants more. Stills going to hang on to the bottom of the racetrack here. He does not have anybody coming with him, but can he clear Clater? He cannot, and he cannot even get clear of Smith. He's going to slide back to 4th as now the entire front line chooses to go low. And there you see Dakota Humphreys with Mike Osborne before a nice little break there. So it looks like this 6-car pack has slowly broken away, and I do believe that's Dylan Blevins, that first car that is behind the rest of this field. As now we've got 3 wide, 2 wide, 3 wide. Not quite sure what we are getting here from the guys, but it looks like another yellow has arrived here on the scene. As again, we've got more cars going around. It looks like INF, the 12 machine of R. Denny was involved. I want to say that's the 20 of Shackelford. Willingham's in it. Drake's in it as well. So that's going to be our 4th caution of the evening here, as R. Denny still very slow to try to get back up to speed. And again, Nick Jensen currently sitting on pit lane, but Dusty Stud, a.k.a. Jon Dean, continuing to hang on to the lead, followed by Clater and Smith with Humphrey and Stills, as everybody's going to go ahead and come down pit lane. So we're yellow again for the 4th time today after another multi-car crash. We'll be right back after this commercial break. And welcome back as we are back to the yellow flag. It looks like pit stops have come and gone. And it looks like we are going to go ahead and have a new leader out front. And it does appear that it's going to be the 3 machine of Dakota Humphrey out front with Jackson Stotts behind him in the 31 machine. A big move there for the rookie here with UTLR. Alex Farrell coming up 3rd with Clater coming 4th. Jon Dean coming out 5th. Out of the pit cycle. So will track position matter? So far it has, because a lot of these wrecks have been coming from essentially the back half of the field, and now with only 24 cars still standing in the field, you do not want to be back anywhere in that 13th to 18th range, because that appears to be right where all the commotion and all the action has been here this evening. So just want to go ahead and take a quick look at socials and see if anybody has said anything yet at this point in time. One of my friends giving me crap because apparently I couldn't make a stream last longer than a minute on my Twitch. Again, I do apologize about that. Twitch was not going to let this race go through cleanly and stay as close to glitch free as possible here for you guys. So that is why we are in this view once again. So again, I do apologize to everybody. We're going to try to make this work here in the next week or so, but then after that, we may need to have, or I know we're going to need to have a quick talk as far as from broadcaster to audience. This way, you guys all know what is going on here in just a couple weeks' time, personally, here with our broadcast and the future of the broadcast and what is going to happen, and possibly a new location as well. So again, we see Humphrey on the outside, Stotts on the inside, Farrell will join on the inside. Clater will bounce to the outside. That's Tanner Herrick who's decided to take the inside line in that one car. He's got Jon Dean to his outside. So that's how the first couple of rows will get back to it. But again, the control car being the 3 machine, as we get a solid restart here, and that bottom line gets a fantastic jump there. And the rookie with UTLR, he was our guy here in the booth last week, joined me. Jackson Stotts has worked his way all the way back up to the front, and he's going to lead coming out of 2. Leading them down the backstretch, 3 cars, single file. After that, it is double file the rest of the way. Alex Farrell going to drive down to the inside. He's going to try to take that lead lap away from Jackson Stotts. Here comes Humphrey trying to force the issue as well. He's going to get into Farrell, but it will not work. Jackson Stotts leads a lap here at Vegas. And now behind Stotts, it is 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 1 finally. And now as they get fanned out coming through 1 and 2, we do see a little bit of the 3 wide action coming from behind, but again, more 2 by 2 the deeper into the field you get. Jon Dean did think about going to the outside of Dakota Humphrey right there. Does not make it stick. Still 2 by 2 as we're coming through 3 and 4. Alex Farrell's got Tanner Herrick behind him, and the push will be on. However, Jackson Stotts will hang on, as now we're going to get 3 wide here. This is for second place. Jon Dean's going to get bobbled up. Farrell's going to go down. Farrell's going to get up into just about everybody else. And I do believe I only saw maybe 1 car go around on my screen, and you just saw it here, folks, as well. Everybody tried to force the issue, but I do believe that is going to be enough to give another caution. So with that, I do believe we'll have to see if the leaders choke up here at the line. And it looks like they do. So the 5th caution, and you kind of saw it there live, Alex Farrell ended up getting a pinball effect here as the number 16 driver. And just from there, the whole pinball effect was a big hit, especially to Dusty Stud. He's been the more dominant driver here of this race, but again, it clears him out just as much. So a little bit of a shakeup here at the front of the pack. As again, you see Stotts up here with Clater, with Humphrey Smith, and that is Stephen Davis II there in the 23 machine, keeping it there in the top 5. You got Osborne behind him with Hackney behind him. So a lot of these names who we kind of saw running that middle tier of the pit lane, or not in the pit lane. Wow, I don't know why I'm saying pit lane, because everybody's going into pit lane. But yes, you see him there. He was hanging on to 5th or 6th, just continuing try to work his way forward. A little bit of a benefactor there, but we'll be right back after this commercial break. Once again, yellow for the 5th time here at Las Vegas.
I can't believe I missed kickoff.
Come on, Dad. Didn't you know you can bid live and bid US?
Oh. Wait. How did you know that?
Sign up at BetUS today and get a 200% bonus.
And we are back here as the pit cycles have worked themselves out. And again, Jackson Stotts continuing to lead the way once again here. Coming out of the pits, Zach Clater coming out in second. Or I stand corrected. I thought Stotts came out in the lead. It is the 42 of Brad Ranger. So a little bit of two-tire action there for the 42 machine. Traditionally, we see him up front very often when Evan Helton's driving. So now seeing him out front with Brad Ranger, something's going well underneath the hood of that 42. Could be a little bit of a strategy play here as well. But again, Stotts coming out second. That'll be Clater coming out third. Dakota Humphrey fourth. Mike Osborne fifth. That's going to be your top five as we come around to the one to go this time by. As we get closer and closer to the choose cone, have to wonder where Brad Ranger is going to go. He's going to go low. Stotts will go high. Clater goes high. Humphrey goes high. Osborne goes low with Davis. Smith goes high as well. Got Shackelford going low. INF going low there. That's Farnhart. There in the 21. Haven't really been able to say his name too much here in the early goings of this race. But there you see him at the inside of row number 5 in the number 21 machine. So again, Dakota Humphreys is there in about 5th. But we are now going to ride along with Jackson Stotts here for this next little while as he continues to be out front. Jack Boy, again, joining me in the booth here, last week. I promise my days are starting to blend together very, very quickly. So continuing to wait this out and see. As Diamante Hamlin's going to bring up the rear of the outside line. Inside line looks like it's going to be brought up by Cody Bonner in the 99. As we come back to green flag racing here, coming out of our 5th caution of the race, and we are officially back to green flag racing, and the 42 car gets a fantastic jump there as Brad Ranger helps lead that low line out to the lead. Osborne's going to push with Steven Davis. Davis is going to end up cutting down on the nose of Nick Stills, but Jackson Stott's going to try to force the issue on the outside with Osborne. 42 starting to break away. That's Brad Ranger. Ranger continuing to hold on to that lead. Jackson Stotts now clearly in second. Osborne was sliding up, now trying to hang on to the bottom of the track there. You see him driving a 5, and he and the 44 have gotten into it a couple times. They may have rubbed the wall just a little bit, able to still hang on to 3rd and 4th respectively. Jackson Stotts now continuing to look low here on the 42. This is for the lead. As they're coming out of 2, it will be Brad Ranger continuing to hang on. He's going to bump down into the 31, so the 42 might have gotten a little bit loose. That's going to shake things up here at the front big time. So the 42 continuing to hold on to the lead. Mike Osborne has moved his way up to second. 3 wide with Deport, Clater, and now Dakota Humphrey back past 3rd. Jackson Stotts hanging on to 3rd place very, very tightly right now. Continuing to race around. The 42 still hanging on to the lead. Jackson Stotts says, "Get out of my way." Mike Osborne. Mike continuing to try to hold him back. You cannot hold back the 31 forever. And I feel like it's been forever since we've said the name of the 21 car in any race. INF, he was the broadcaster here for the Cup Series last season. However, he has decided to go back into full-time racing. And here you see him on the bottom of the track trying to get past the 42, pushing the 31 outside. The 21 gets back out to the front. And I do believe that the 21 has cleared. So the 21 is now in the lead. So INF has slowly made his way up to the front. As now we see R. Denny in the pits. I don't know if he is officially lagged out or if he backed out. But again, the 12 car now in the pits as well. So we'll have to check on him in just a moment. Zach Clater now trying to push the issue here with INF as he is going to go to the low side. INF's going to be forced super high coming down the backstretch. That's going to allow the 44 and the 43 to get by on the low side. As now Zach Clater's going to force his way all the way down to the bottom, and that is Mike Osborne back up into 3rd. As we see a wall rub from the 42, he is starting to fall like a rock, headed back towards the back of the pack, as is the 23 there. That is Steven Davis. So some hard drivers getting into the wall here, coming through 3 and 4, and that is forcing them well out of the picture. Back up towards third place here, as we'll try to cycle our way back up, and that is Osborne, and that is Michael Shackelford now in a battle with Dakota Humphrey. That is for 4th and 5th and 6th, and just like that, Chris Hackney has made his way back up into the conversation. He's driving that 48 machine, trying to hang on to a top 5 spot, and is able to do so for the time being. So now you still continue to have Zach Clater out front. Luke Smith, who we are currently riding along with, is currently riding on in 2nd. Osborne coming in 3rd. Dakota Humphrey 4th. And INF in the 21 machine is currently riding in 5th. Continuing to ride around, the first 3 are single file. After that, it does get a little bit of double file. It looks like they've figured it out just a little bit. Just kidding. Everybody's being super aggressive here, as we're now officially at just about the halfway point in this race. But Clater and Smith continuing to hang on to the front of this race. Dakota Humphreys, he's decided to make his charge towards the bottom of the track, just to the inside quarter panel of Smith. He's going to lead that bottom line once again. Is now Osborne, he's going to try to go 3 wide, but being in the middle, that never proves to be well, is it's going to send Smith up into the wall. That's going to send INF down the track. That's going to send cars through the grass. And will that send cars around? It does not. Everybody able to hang on. So again, having a car in the middle, 3 wide, does not work coming through 3 and 4, as now Luke Smith has a lot of work to do in order to get back up into the top 3. As we'll continue to cycle through these drivers, here we see Alex Farrell riding along, trying to get past Diamante Hamilton. SP continuing to sit on the sidelines. I do believe him and Denny have officially lagged out. As we'll go ahead right along with Dusty Stud. He's made his way back up into the top 5. And now he's going to try to run the middle line. He's got Luke Smith right in front of him. But just in front of them, we've got another battle for the lead. That is going to be the 44 machine and the 31 machine. So Zach Clater and Jackson Stotts, although Stotts is starting to slide back just a little bit, that's going to allow the 47 and Jon Dean to get in front of him. And Jon Dean coming back for the lead that he feels like he never should have lost. Zach Clater out in front of him. As now we're getting closer and closer to single file racing, as again through the turns we will see a bit of 2 wide and 3 wide as well. But again, Dusty Stud now trying to force the issue here with Clater, but now Jackson Stotts is going to force him low as he runs the high line. Stotts and Dean now in a battle for 2nd, and just behind them is INF. That is the number 21 machine, slowly creeping up, trying to make his way back towards the front. And there, I believe, is Luke Smith once again, trying to lead the low line. Nobody wanting to make anything 3 wide. We see another couple drivers slowly scratch the wall. Coming out of turn 2, and there we see Osborne getting to the wall just a little bit. Stotts continuing to have momentum, running that very, very high line. But Jon Dean's continuing to keep it door to door with him in this battle for 2nd place that you're riding along with right now. Zach Clater currently out in the lead there in the number 44 machine. As now it looks like Dean has tried to clear, and it looks like the momentum may have carried him through. But here comes the 31 once again. Momentum, that middle to high line through 1 and 2 is really hoping that 31 carry through. But now as everybody's getting bunched up once again, a lot of 2 wide racing once again. Have to see if maybe 3 wide racing becomes another issue, as we saw it just a few laps ago. Really jumbled up this top 10, but now the top 10 is slowly working itself out once again, as again Mike Osborne trying to close down. He didn't see Deport there. That's going to cause a commotion. That's going to cause 2 cars to go around, and that's going to be the 6th caution of the race. Not quite sure who all was involved. It could have been Storm, could have been Knockdown. Looks like Go Dogs was involved for sure in that little melee, as now more and more cars are slowly coming to the start-finish line. And I'm not sure if these guys are slowing down or not. But here we're riding along with Jackboy once again. And that's a battle for second. So must mean that we're towards the end of the stage. That's the only thing that I can think of. The 31 gets loose. He's going to get up into the wall. And now we got cars spinning. And this should be for the stage. Absolute chaos here to end stage number 2. Cars going around flipping. Not quite sure what else you can say. As cars are just battering into each other here. Don't know if that was a caution or if that was a stage. What exactly we just witnessed on our screens. But that is going to mix things up here once again here in the field. I don't think that was the stage because all these guys would be a lot more bunched up than they are. As now we're getting everybody formed back up. So a whole lot of insanity happening there. We had a couple cars going around in the back of the field and then right here at the front of the field as well. But Clater continuing to lead the way. That's INF behind him with Luke Smith third, Brian Bushnell fourth, Chris Hackney fifth, and that is Danny Byerly coming home in sixth as we now get to our sixth caution of the evening. So again, kind of similar to what we saw at Indianapolis, drivers just getting a little too aggressive here as we get to the later stages here in stage number 2. So it looks like everybody will once again come down pit lane. So that means I get another water break and you guys get tired of hearing my voice. So here, have 30 seconds of Dubby. And welcome back to the action. As per the owner of the league, the driver of the 16, Alex Farrell, he is the owner, so he does end up making these calls. And because of all these cautions, they have decided that the rest of this race will be single file restarts the rest of the way. So that's going to be a huge advantage here for the number 44 machine of Zach Clater as he's going to come around. He will be the lead car, followed by the 9 of Brian Bushnell. After that, you've got the 21 machine, Jack Farnhart, in third, followed by Chris Hackney, who has made his way back up into the top 5. So try to get a good camera angle here. Do believe that is going to be Jon Dean, who's in 5th with Luke Smith, or no, that's Danny Byerly in 5th. Luke Smith 6th, Diamante Hamilton 7th. Alex Farrell 8th. Jacob Willingham coming out 9th. So some bold strategy here for the end of stage number 2. Again, they will be restarting single file the rest of the way due to the amount of cautions, and that is a UTLR rule. So no more double file restarts. Zach Clater is the control car. And a fantastic jump from the 44 and the 9 as we are back to green flag racing to end out stage number 2 here from Las Vegas. As you can see, the cars that get a good jump, they are able to get out to a fantastic lead. Those who do not, they are kind of forced to the back, as now we got Brian Bushnell working his way up to the front. He's on the inside of the 44 machine, trying to take away that lead. The first time that we've really been able to call his name here this evening. He's going to continue to hold down to the inside of Clater. Clater going to come around 3 and 4. Clater going to continue to hang on as it stands. He will continue to hold the lead. Brian Bushnell continuing to hang on to the bottom side with INF to the outside. 2 by 2 before we get to a little bit of single file action. But that single file restart has really broken a lot of people up here. Clater continuing to hang on to the outside with Bushnell. He does not have any friends going with him on the low side. Hackney now able to catch up to him, but you've got a 5-car train hanging on to the outside. Clater hanging on with INF behind him, with Luke Smith behind him as well. Clater's going to get the push, and he's going to continue to lead here at Las Vegas. After that, INF and the rest of the guys are 2 by 2 behind him as the 44, Dr. Clater, continuing to run that middle line. Seems to get a little bit of a better run off of 1 and 2, but there you see Bushnell, and there you see Luke Smith taking a huge chance to dive all the way down to the bottom. Force it 3 wide. Now gets back to 2 wide. INF said he didn't want any of that, but Luke Smith has worked his way back up. He's in a battle for second. It does appear that he will actually be able to hang on to second through that lap, but Zach Clater continuing to roll here at Las Vegas, continuing to roll the high side, trying to make that line work, but now Bushnell with INF, and as they continue to push that top line, Diamante Hamilton now trying to push. He's going to abandon ship. More and more action as now we've got INF diving low. This is going to be for the lead. It will still be Zach Clater hanging on to that lead, but the 21 and the 9 are hunting. As here we see the 21 using a huge shot of momentum, trying to come through 1 and 2. Can he get up in front of the 44 in time? Just takes off his nose. He's able to hang on to it. Now the 9's going to be forced low, and that's Dakota Humphrey with the 50 car. Danny Byerly now behind him. That is your top 5. Clater continuing to try to push the issue. Bushnell cannot work his way to the top, but INF continuing to roll through. He's hanging on to first place, if only for a moment. The 9 and the 44 still going side by side, as now we've got side by side action from second all the way back to 7th. That allowed Luke Smith to come up. He is the 8th place car, and that is where they are all connected. And that's going to send the 3 around. He got into the 16 of Alex Farrell. And now that's another car around. That's going to be the 77. As they're coming around to the line, INF's going to hang on to the lead, but that should bring out another yellow here as multiple cars once again getting involved. But I don't think that they're going to, so it looks like green flag action is still going to continue. Thought that we would have seen a yellow there for everybody that was getting involved, but we are not at this time. So Hackney's going to take over third. Bushnell's hanging on to second. INF continuing to lead the way. He's got about a 2-car length ahead going out of 4. More single file racing as now everybody starts to fan out just a little bit more. As it looks like now the 16 is around. He's going to get down into the 43, as it looks like that was the end of stage number 2. So INF, coming from the depths of the field, has pushed his way all the way up. He gets stage number 2 victory after Dusty Stud or Jon Dean takes the first. Zach Clater's going to come home second, Bushnell third, and then a fantastic run from Chris Hackney coming home fourth. We'll have to get the rest of that here in just a little bit, but I do believe that we should potentially be having another driver in here. Let me see if he wants to join in on the broadcast. If not, then that is perfectly fine, as we're going to go ahead and get back to the action here. See if we can work our way up to the front. This is the only time that we will see double file the rest of the way, as that is going to be Dr. Clater or Zach Clater on the outside with INF on the inside, and we are officially back to green flag racing. And now joining me in the booth, a little bit unexpected here probably for him, I would say, after having a pretty solid run from starting in 24th, has worked his way all the way up to the front. But SP, I do believe he's in here. I just think he's got himself muted, so we'll have to see if he unmutes himself here in just a moment.
Oh!
So I think he's there now. So SP, are you there, bud?
Yeah, sorry. Dusty's upside down in turn 4. Yeah.
Oh, goody. So just what we wanted. More drivers driving upside down here at Las Vegas. So wouldn't be surprised if we get another yellow. So I'll go ahead and ask you, bud, because I know that you started at the absolute back of the field, and now you've had to work your way all the way up to the front, and then all of a sudden you just completely disappeared. So was that just like a lag out on your side, or what happened from your perspective?
I lagged out. The car was really fast. I went from 24th to P1, and then, yeah, the car just – it expired. The engine went out, I guess, or lag out, I guess, but it's okay. I don't know how many races I'll be racing this season. I'm obviously just part-time with school and all that, but, yeah, I mean, we had a really good car. Black Hammer wanted me to come sub for him, and I thought we did a really good job. We were going to get a lot of stage points there, and just wasn't meant to be. So upset about it. We'll see if we can get another race in soon. I love all the broadcasting you're doing, all that. It's fun. I love this, what you're doing, getting drivers in here, face cam and all that. It's awesome. But yeah, I mean, it sucks. We wanted to do good for Hammer, but like I said, just not the night, and it's okay. It's Vegas. A lot of risks happen, and what stays in Vegas, or happened in Vegas stays in Vegas. So it's okay. We'll move on to wherever our next opportunity is in Cup, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Yeah. And like you said, a lot of opportunities, a lot of people trying to make things work one way or the other. However, now we're looking at our seventh caution of the race here. So, from what you were seeing on the track, was that just a lot of people just trying to force the issue, or what were you kind of seeing on the track from your perspective?
Yeah, I'm watching the race right now, and I have it here in the back. But I mean, overall, Vegas races a lot like Next Gen Atlanta, even though the Next Gen Atlanta for these cars in the game doesn't race like that Atlanta. The real Next Gen Atlanta race is Vegas. And yeah, I mean, people are doing a lot of taking and not giving, and that's kind of what we're seeing with all these wrecks. A lot of the big ones too, and just honestly, people still trying to get used to each other. It's only week 3. About half of these guys that are running Cup have never really ran with us before, so we're all still trying to get used to everyone. And yeah, I mean, it's going to take time. I'd say by week 6, it'll be good. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting race. I think we're going single file here now because we've already reached our 6 or more caution limit. So we'll see what these guys can do here. But yeah, really good stuff too. I want to give a shout out to Dusty. Give a shout out to him. He's been dominating this race, although he's back in traffic. We'll see if he can navigate his way through. Ranger's been doing good. Luke's been doing good. And Clater. So we'll see what those guys can do. But yeah, cool to be up here in the booth for sure.
Yeah, a little bit of a different perspective here for you here, but as we see, it'll be Dylan Blevins Flash out front with Bushnell behind him. He's got Stephen Davis the second behind him, and then after that, it'll be Mike Osborne behind him. So I do believe that we are going to go ahead and get going once again. So we are back to green flag action here from Las Vegas. A solid start here from the top 5, but Brad Ranger just is not able to hit the gas pedal there. So it's going to be the top 4 drivers that end up breaking away. That's going to be Blevins, Bushnell, Davis, and Osborne. And now looking a little bit further back, it does look like INF has tried to work his way back up. He is now sitting in 5th place, going to try to work his way back up through the field. A lot of open track in between him and Ranger, who's again subbing for the 42. Evan Helton out with a broken wrist right now, so we'll have to see him come back here as soon as we possibly can. But here you see Osborne trying to make that high line work with Bushnell, but Blevins continuing to hold on to that lead for the time being. As now we get into 3 and 4 now, and that's going to be Bushnell. He's going to be forcing the issue here on Blevins, trying to hold that low line, but Osborne's going to be coming right behind him, and now Blevins, he's going to be the middle of a sandwich that he does not want to be. INF forcing it way wide on the outside. He's going to take over 3rd. He's going to take over 2nd, and if Bushnell isn't careful, INF's going to about to run away here with the lead.
Contact in the back. There's a bunch of cars going around. The 31 of Jack Boy. Yeah, Jackson stalled around. I don't know if anyone else got involved. Alex Farrell's in it as well in the 16 teammates.
Not what you like to see, and I do believe that would be too, so ideally that would bring out the caution here, as it does look like everybody is choking up. So now we are at 8 cautions here on the evening so far. So again, Jackson Stott's getting around there on the backstretch, gets in with Alex Farrell, and just continuing to push these cars around. And like you kind of said here with Atlanta, it's been a whole lot of take, but not a whole lot of give.
Yeah, for sure. Little replay action there, what I kind of saw, because I was on board with the 31. It was kind of a little bit of a coordinate effect. Someone on the bottom, I don't know who it was, came up and hit the 16 of Alex, I believe. And then Alex came up and hit the 31 of Jack Boy or Jackson Stott, and he hit the wall, came down, killed Alex, and was on from there. Good escape from a lot of those guys, though. A lot of them were able to escape the danger. But yeah, another caution, Ian, and Like I said, it's a lot of take, no give. So we're going to see a lot of that for the rest of the night.
That we are. And while they're in pits, we're going to go ahead and take a quick 30-second break. And then on the other side, we'll get back to green flag action. We're going to go ahead and get back to the action here as the race off of pit road is done. We'll have to see who came out in the lead. And if I'm looking at this right, it looks like the 20 machine. Oh, okay. I was about to say we might have had a third DNF. However, Shackelford he ended up bringing up the rear of the field. So it looks like back towards the front, it does look like Alex coming out of the wreck. He ends up coming out with the lead, but he's got INF behind him, Irate Pluto with him, and then behind them will be Flash. That's your top four.
Interesting to have Alex up front. He was in the wreck. I'm surprised that they're letting him stay up front. Maybe he's going to pick this time, but usually if you're in the wreck here in UTLR, you go to the rear of the field, and doesn't look like he's doing that right now. So I guess he wasn't in the wreck, even though he was spinning on the apron and everything. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe get a rule book check here post-race and see what that was all about. But again, it does look like Farrell's going to hang on to the lead as we are back to green flag action here from Las Vegas once again. Again, Alex leading the way with INF behind him. Irate Pluto third, Flash Desert fourth, Stephen Davis coming in fifth, and that is going to be Zach Clater coming up in sixth, and he's been having a very consistent run throughout this entire race. As we come too wide, coming through 3 and 4, and that will allow INF to get past Alex. And it looks like Pluto is going to try to find a way as well. But as it stands right now, INF will hang on to the lead as he now tries to block the high side. Stephen Davis now trying to make the high side work with Alex Farrell. And now we've got Clater coming on with him, and now it looks like it may be Flash being hung out to dry there on the bottom side, but still side-by-side action, still trying to hang on for that third place. Alex trying to push the issue, trying to hold Dylan low, but Blevins is going to make that pass. And so is Clater, and it looks like a whole host of other drivers are going to be able to get past that 16 machine. So far, single file through the top 5, and then we're going to get side-by-side after that.
Something going on with the 16 of Alex Farrell right there. Looked like he got in the wall. He just lost about half a dozen spots, maybe more, because now he's under fire from Alan Drake in the 24 and the 62 of Nick Stills.
Definitely something that we will have to pay attention to as this race goes on. But back at the front of the field, we've got a battle for the lead as Pluto is continuing to try to apply pressure to the back bumper of INF. However, he's not able to make the pass, so he'll get back in line with Blevins coming in on third place. Looks like Clater has worked his way up to fourth. Luke Smith slowly trying to charge his way up. He's got Stephen Davis in the way, and that's stopping him from getting into the top 5. So it looks like it's about the first 9 drivers or so have about a half a second gap before you get back to the rest of them, and it looks like that's going to be led by Mike Osborne. Battle for third ensuing now as now we've got Dr. Clater now diving to the inside of Pluto as Pluto's going to run high. The 44 is going to go low. And going with him will be Luke Smith as he continues to try to get around the 23 machine. He's able to do so cleanly, and the 44 able to clear the 9. Your leaders have not changed up yet, but the 9 has fell all the way back to 4th place now. 77 machine, Dylan Blevins up to 2nd. Zach Clater hanging on to 3rd with INF continuing to lead as, again, the front 9 cars starting to go single file.
Now, Ian, let me ask you this, man. Looking at this field, we've already seen stage 1 and 2. Looking at this field, who are you keeping an eye on for maybe getting the race win here? Because we've seen a lot of comers and goers throughout the whole race, but I feel like there's some people that have just stayed up front all night.
That we have, and for that, I mean, you have to really look at three different cars here. You got to look at the 21, who's about to surrender the lead here to the 77 machine of Dylan Blevins. But that 21 machine of INF, he's been super consistent. Once he got to the front, he's been able to hang on to it there. But I also think, well, really, I'm going to say four cars because the 44 of Clater, he's been absolutely phenomenal here tonight. He ended up winning yesterday, looking to go back-to-back. But then you've got Luke Smith in the 43. He's climbed his way all the way back up now in the fourth place. And Jon Dean, a.k.a. Dusty Stud, after being caught up in that accident with Farrell and the guys much earlier, he has worked his way back up in the top five. So the small group of drivers here that I really do believe will be able to hang on, but I'm very okay with the new driver that I didn't mention.
Yeah, for sure. I like those. And well, we've got about 2 packs right now. I'm expecting to see some retaliation from the 501 bad. Mike Osborne and Luke Smith in that 43. They got together a lot earlier in stage 2. And I can hear from race chat that they're not happy with each other and they want to talk afterwards. And maybe they're going to let the talking on the track do the work. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here, but keep an eye on those two guys because Mike Osborne, he's coming through the field. He just passed the whole second pack and he's going to start reeling in these guys in the first pack.
Yeah, as you can kind of see him there on the stream, he's currently hanging on to 10th place right now, but again, slowly reeling in the 42 machine of Brad Ranger. And if he could get to Ranger, he could get to the rest of the field. But as it stands right now, INF has been shuffled back, now currently sitting in 7th with Dylan Blevins now out in the lead. You got Zach Clater hanging on to 2nd, but then you got 2 wide between Bushnell and Smith. That's going to be a battle for 3rd. Bushnell, we haven't talked to him post-race yet anytime this season, but he's been a pretty consistent driver here in the 9 machine once he got out of all the 4A that was happening in the back half. As now they're coming around to Blevins continuing to lead the way with Clater, Smith, and now Dean, as Dean has made his way up into 4th spot. Bushnell continuing to drop like a rock, trying to run that bottom line. And kind of like what you said, if these cars continue to run side by side, eventually that 5 machine will catch them. And the 5 of Osborne, as well as Stills in the 62. And Alan Drake, after being caught up, he is going to catch up. And there we see the 23 go up into the wall in 1 and 2.
Yeah, he got contact between the 21 of INF and I believe the 9, and they just all got together 3-1. It was like a domino effect. They all 3 just kind of couldn't hold the line, and they all went up, and fortunately the 23 paid the price.
Not the way that Davis wanted this race to come to an end as these laps are slowly starting to tick down. But again, you mentioned it. If that back pack could catch this front pack, we were going to be in for a fight. And just like that, the 5 machine gets a glove tap on Brad Ranger, and now he clears him now with Irate Pluto in his sights. 5 machine having a very solid day there for the Hendricks team as well as the 9. 24 coming right behind them, but the 62 breaking up the little Hendrick love train that is going on because right in front of the 9 and the 5 is the 48 of Chris Hackney as he dives super low. He's going to get high. Almost takes out Mike Osborne here on our stream, but that's going to be a little bit of a saving grace here for about those top 6. I'm not sure if you saw it a little bit differently on your stream.
Yeah, no, I saw it exactly like you said it, and they're still fighting. One bed's got put at the 48, and they keep hitting each other. That's a teammate right there. You don't want to do that. That's your ally right there, but apparently that's more like an enemy. And no pun intended to the sponsor on board the 48.
Allies and enemies. Good old World War II references there, ladies and gentlemen. But it does appear that the front 6 have broken away by about 3/4 of a second here before you get back to the 24 of Alan Drake. And then from there, it is the rest of the field being led up the way by the 62 of Nick Stills. But again, out front, Dylan Blevins continuing to lead the way. So very interesting dynamic here between the 77 and the 44. Blevins currently trying to stay out front. This could be one of his better races for this entire year. Clater, he's been nothing but consistent this entire year, as has the 47 and the 43.
Yeah, and I want to point something out. With the 77 of Dylan Blevins, I don't believe he has ever gotten a cup win in UTLR. If he did, it was ancient. It was in the pioneer days. And right now, I can tell you what, the last time he was in a position to win a race, he lost it by 5/1000th of a second to me, unfortunately. But yeah, this would be a great night for Dylan and the whole Spire Motorsports Club right now because, man, he is doing well of a job. Qualified outside the top 22, and he's out here leading these laps. So hopefully he can get it done. It'd be awesome. Big underdog win right there.
Continuing to make it work here as the 9 and the 21 are consistently going side by side. That'd be a battle for fifth. But with them going side by side, that's just allowing these front four to continue to break away. Blevins with Clater, Smith, Dean, Bushnell, and INF. That is going to be your top six. And usually, right about now is when we start seeing a bit of single file action here from these front six. Try to continue to break away because that 24 machine, as well with the 62 and the rest of that group, if they can get it formed together, we could be in for a very, very fun finish here. But here we see the 9 now trying to push the outside of the 47 and the 43. The Bushnell is going to be the only driver who's going to try to push that high side, as we got a little bit of a dark tint there for a second, so I do apologize there on your streams. But the 9 continuing to try to hang on, and now he had the 47 with him for just a moment, but now the 9 continuing to push around the 43. Can he get around the 44? Without any help, a little bit difficult as he's going to fall in behind the 43. So that would be settling him for fourth. But again, Jon Dean continuing to make waves. And again, more side-by-side action. That's allowing INF to continue to keep this race close. And there you see the 24. He was in the lead for just a moment in that backpack, getting up into the wall, coming out of 2. Blevins and Clater nose to tail, and then you got side-by-side action behind them with Smith and Bushnell side-by-side, and then you've got Dean and INF with them. And it looks like that outside line will die down. Go ahead.
I was going to say, some people just pulled in the pit. Brad, I believe Crimson just pulled in. I believe Alex Farrell with them. So, yeah, Brad, Tanner, Alex, all 3 pit right there.
All right, so green flag pit stops are officially underway as we should be right about the halfway point for the final stage here of this race from Las Vegas. But again, your top 6 have not changed other than the jockeying positions, but they can change as much as they want. But that 77 continuing to hang on to the lead. As now we get into a battle for second, Bushnell being pushed by INF. Trying to make a 2-car tandem work on the high side while the low line continues to try to make a 4-car line work. But now it looks like Dean might have backed off just a little bit as now he rejoins that bottom line. Again, these front 6 cars, all probably within 0.3 of a second of each other, got about a half second to a 3/4 of a second back to 7th. But you've got to think green flag pit stops are going to be coming, and with green flag pit stops coming, do you go for the full 4 or do you chance it and only take 2 in a full tank?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Vegas is one of those tracks that eat tires up pretty quick. However, in these next-gen cars, these tires don't get worn out super quickly. You could take a chance and go with 2 tires. We saw in the truck race last night, some people took 2 tires and it paid off. We saw people save fuel and it also paid off. But it's going to depend on how many laps are left, and it's going to depend on your pace, because if you have people in a pack with you with 4 tires and all that, you will catch the guys on 2 tires or no tires at all. That's going to be the big thing. So we'll see what they do here. I'll tell you what, the Legacy Motor Club cars and the Spire cars will be pitting together for sure, and they're going to work as a team. So it might be a little harder for these guys in the lead pack to really get some momentum, because they're going to have to go against a 4v2 here.
Yeah, as we see one car go down, I do believe that was Jon Dean, but it did look like a couple of the cars got collected. So it'll be interesting to see if that ends up being a caution. And if it does, that will mix up a whole lot of different strategies here. As Jon Dean originally did drive down to the pits, as now we've got some more leaders coming down pit road. That's going to allow the 9 car of Brian Bushnell to take the lead with INF.
Yeah, when you were talking about that, one bat I think missed pit road. He was spun around on the infield, so I don't know what happened there. But he was out of it. He was doing donuts. Thought he won the race maybe, but yeah, not good for one bat. Mr. Mike Osborne there in the 5.
Not where you want to be, especially with green flag pit stops now underway. As now it looks like the 9 machine is starting to dive low. He's going to go ahead and shut it down. He'll come to pit road. INF continuing to stay out here, as it looks like he is probably the only driver that is still out there that needs to come down pit lane. So we'll go ahead and switch over to INF real quick as he's coming down the backstretch. Again, nobody with him right now, as he's got Jon Dean in front of him. If he could get past him before we get to pit road, then he's definitely got a great shot at this race, but it won't matter as he's going to send it down pit road now as well. So it looks like all the leaders are going to go ahead, come down pit road. So now it'll become a race of who came out on top. So we'll continue to ride with Dusty Stud for the time being until we figure out who exactly does have the lead at this point in time. Do know that he was one of the top 5 drivers before he did come down pit road. But now it seems like everybody is a little bit spaced out. So we'll have to see how this all forms back up. As Deport is now being caught up with the 3 machine. There's a nice little group here. The 3, the 1, the 16, and the 62, they're all running together. And here's the 44, the 43, the 42, and the 9. Part of me thinks that this is more than likely the lead pack because INF is joining them now.
Yeah, and I believe Flash is the leader, and he's got about a second lead over these guys. If I'm looking at this correctly, he's just ahead of these guys. So good job from Flash. I believe he just barely beat everyone out of pit road.
Yeah, and if so, he's got a whole lot of open track ahead of him, and that's exactly what he wants to see. So we'll go ahead and continue to ride with him as, again, 2nd through 5th now need to be able to work together. But if the 77 has that big of a lead, this could get very, very good news for the 77 camp. Again, it's continuing to look for his first win in what feels like a long time, but behind him there's a mad group of 5 who want to be able to close this gap very, very quickly.
Yeah, Ian, as I'm looking at this, because now I have a Twitch on my laptop here, yeah, the 77 is the leader.
All right. Well, Dylan Blevins trying to continue to make waves here. He's got Clater and Smith behind him. That is going to be your top 3. And then I'll just go ahead and ask you, because I know you can see the Twitch stream. Does it have the lap counter up there?
There does. I don't know if Alex is a lap down. From what I can see, he's not. He just switched it. I believe we're coming to 13 to go this time. Should be 12 to go now.
All right, so with 12 laps to go and a second out in front of the rest of the pack, if that backpack doesn't get it together, do you think Dylan has enough to hang on?
Dylan's one of those guys. He's super underrated, and I'm telling you what, he is probably the most hungry out of anyone in this field for a win. He has not had a cup win, but he has been oh so close so many times last season coming into the Cup Series. Even in the Truck Series, has been pretty close. But he wants the cup win really bad. And honestly, with his pace right now, he's got it, I think. He's got quote-unquote teammates or alliances behind them. And I think they'll be able to help him out, try to get to the win. But yeah, I mean, Flash is in a great position right now.
Coming around 3 and 4, we will be looking at 10 to go this time. And that backpack from 2nd to 5th, you might as well throw a blanket over every single one of them. They're going to make this very, very fun to see who else will join on the podium, because that is going to be Clater. That's going to be Smith. That's Bushnell. And that is also, I want to say, That is Chris Hackney sitting in third place right now in the 48 machine. So a heck of a run there for that 48 car, as now he is cleared for third. Bushnell trying to work his way up. Smith slides back to fifth. As we're coming around, it's going to be 9 to go this time by.
10 to go. My bad. I was off a lap.
So it is 10?
Now it is 10, yes.
All right, so now we are at 10 to go. And unfortunately, that second through fifth, they've made the draft work in their favor, because now they're about only a half second back of the 77 machine. But the 77 continuing to tick off laps. All he has to do is keep it clean. He cannot control what's behind him. He can only control what's in front of him. And right now, all he's got is a whole lot of open pavement now. 9 laps to go here at Las Vegas.
Yeah,
And right as we said that we think that he's got the room, that door just closed, because Clater is there, Bushnell is there, Hackney is there, Smith is there.
Flash is looking really good right now. If he can just hold his ground and stay on the bottom, put some blocks together, he can still have this, although he's going to have to hold off a hard-charging 44 cars. Here comes the 9 car diving down low. Zach Clater right there. See if he'll make a move. Looks like he's going to push Dylan right there, so looking really good. Chris Hackney on the bottom right there with, I believe, Jack Farnhart right there. They're going to try to make something happen on the bottom. Luke Smith up top as well, as they're getting squirrely here on the backstretch. But yeah, coming to only a couple of laps to go here, and I'm getting a little nervous, Ian. We got
Yeah, it's about to be 7 to go this time by. Clater continuing to hang on to the low line by himself. Blevins going to get the push from Bushnell. He continues to hold the lead, 7 to go. But now the front 6 cars all within 0.3 of a second of each other. Hackney gets pushed to the back. Blevins hanging on. Bushnell behind him with Smith now running third. Smith going to dive down to the inside of the 9 machine. The 77 going to move down the block. Does so cleanly. Just gets the air right in front of Luke Smith. Going to hang on to that low line as we are side by side coming out of 4. Bushnell trying to hang on to that top line. He's going to take the lead, 6 to go. 9 machine followed by the 21 and the 77 would be your top 3 finishers as it stands right now. 77 continuing to try to hang on, but now being the low car, it almost seemed like he was going to be odd man out. He forces his way up in front of Luke Smith as we head down into 3 and 4. Bushnell and INF continuing to push the pace. Can Smith close the door? Is he going to help? He is not. As we come across the line, 5 to go, yellows are off. Blevins had a fantastic run, but he may have gotten out to too big of a lead too soon. 4.5 to go. Bushnell and INF side by side coming down the backstretch. You got 44 and 77 side by side. 43 of Luke Smith hanging on to third. As now we got 3 wide behind them. If Hackney's going to try to join the party, he's going to slide in front of Clater. That's for 5th. Coming across the line, we're at 4 to go. Bushnell, INF, Luke Smith, your top 3. Blevins hanging on to 4th. Hackney having a hell of a run here. He's got a lot of momentum. He's going to barely touch the 77. They're going to be side by side. 48's going to give up the ground. And now INF, he's going to slide back to 4th. Blevins is going to head to the inside of Smith. That's her 2nd. Bushnell continuing to hang on. Smith thought about blocking low. He could not get down there. 3 to go this time. Bushnell out in the lead. He's got about a car length. But here comes Blevins with INF behind him, running about half a car length off the bottom. The 21 trying to make it an issue. Not able to get there yet. Coming down to 3 and 4. Bushnell still hanging on to the lead. He's going to block the low line. 77. Blevins now still only about a car length back. Continuing to try to push the issue. Bushnell hanging on. 2 to go. As now, again, the front 6 cars all starting to get single file. But now we got a big push from the 77 on the low side, and he's got company with him. 77, that's Blevins. Is he going to slide up in front of Bushnell? He's going to try. They touch. They touch twice. Coming down the backstretch. He does not make the pass. Bushnell hanging on to the outside. That's INF behind him. Smith now coming up to the back bumper of Blevins. Blevins trying to make it work. INF going to cut him off. 1 lap to go here from Vegas. As now INF was going to try to dive down to the inside of Bushnell. That is Hackney with Blevins behind him. As they touch, the 9 and the 21 touch, the 9's going to go up into the wall. That's not where he wanted to go, and now that's going to give the 21 the lead. INF going to head down into turn 3. Will he get an opposition? It does not appear so. The 21 machine, Jack Farnhart, going to be able to hang on, and he takes the victory here at Las Vegas.
Great run all night by the 21. A little bit quiet, too, but he got the win. Little aggressive move, make contact with the 9, but it's going to stick, and the 21 car going to head to victory lane for the first time this season. Nice job.
Yep, we got the 21 coming to victory lane, and I do want to say, I do think that Chris Hackney came home second in that race, and Dylan Blevins came home third. If I saw it right.
Chris Hackney got second, and Luke Smith got third. Dylan fourth, and then I don't know who got fifth. I assume it was Zach Clater, and I'll double check because I got the results right here. Yeah, it looks like, yeah. And then goes on the 9, the 24, the 19, and so on. But yeah, great race overall. This was probably one of the more exciting races. All the lanes were working tonight, and we got an INF win. First race of the season after being suspended the first 2 races, and he gets it done to show them who's boss. So nice job from INF, and should have him in here shortly.
Yeah, we should have a few of these drivers in here very, very shortly indeed. But while we're waiting on them, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, probably our longest one of the night, about a minute long. And then by the time we are done with that, we'll get these top 3 drivers in. But again, INF coming away with the victory here at Las Vegas.
I can't believe I missed kickoff.
Come on, Dad. Didn't you know you can bid live and bid US?
Oh. Wait. How did you know that?
Sign up at BetUS today and get a 200% bonus.
As we are back here, still awaiting some of the drivers to come meet us for some post-race interviews. Again, INF coming away with the victory. Don't know if we're going to be able to get him to join us, but we should at least be able to get Chris Hackney and Luke Smith. We should be able to get the 77 up in here as well. So either way, I think we should be able to get at least 3 of the top 5 drivers here in the field with us. But I know we at least got our 3rd place driver up in here. I'm sure he's going to be happy to see you up here in the booth. I don't know if he knew that you were up here with me for that last stage. But Luke, another race, another top 3. I don't know what more we can say about you, buddy.
Yeah, I did. I mean, it was not really, honestly, the best race I've raced in. Especially with some things that happened, especially with me and One Bad. I'm, not forgiving of what I did because he did it to me. And like he said it best. I got him, he got me. It's over. We'll move on from that. But I mean, I'm stacking up these podiums. I think I've finished on podium in all 3 races this season. So proud of myself, proud of the team. We work well together. And hi SP, how are you doing?
Good. I'm good. I'm here in the booth with my boy Ian. He invited me here, so I was able to broadcast a little bit. I was a little nervous, not going to lie, broadcasting, because this is pretty cool. And I kept staring at the TV, and then I realized when I'm talking, they can't see my eyes. But, yeah, no, it was fun being up here. Definitely. I definitely want to do this again. This is really cool. But I'm doing good. I sucked. The engine blew out with 4 to go in stage 1, so that was real nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then not only that, I mean, it seems like Luke, you were kind of in the middle of a lot of different situations, but a lot in the beginning you were able to kind of avoid it. Was track position really that big of a deal here, really early on and throughout the entire race, in your opinion?
Yeah, it was such a big deal, the track position. It was so hard to pass, especially if you were working by yourself. Obviously, the track kind of changed. It races way different than it used to. It's very middle lane dependent. You kind of have to work with people and try and get the run on the outside. The bottom does not really work because you're so close to the apron, and the middle lane is right off the bottom lane. So you just have to figure out how to, work together and make corresponding moves and try and keep it clean. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about the finish. It didn't look necessarily the cleanest to me, but shout out to INF, shout out to Pluto. I think Pluto probably should have won that race, definitely deserved to win it. Got used up in the final corner. It's very unfortunate for him. He's working his butt off trying to get everything done. But it's racing at the end of the day. It is what it is. He still finished the race. Didn't win, didn't get the win he deserved, but my team finished well. Wish SP could have finished out here for Spire, but he had that engine in there, had to build it last second, and it sucked ass. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, SP. Thank you, Alex. I hope you guys had fun up in the booth. And yeah, we move on to next week.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun for us. Hopefully, it was just as much fun for you, even though it definitely seemed like there's a little bit of interesting ending there. I'm sure that will be discussed there with some of the upper tier guys there. But Luke, we'll go ahead and let you go. We'll catch you next week, bud.
Thank you.
All right. And then I guess INF, we're not going to be able to get him, but it feels like we need to get the man of the hour who really probably should have been somewhere in this top three. It felt like he had it there. We were talking about him for quite a while, but it's about time that we get him in here. Mr. Dylan Blevins, a.k.a. Flash. Flash, man, I don't know what that pitch strategy was at the end, but it seemed to work out just as well as it could have until those last couple of laps.
Yeah, we really wanted that win. We tried my best. Obviously, we stayed out on the second to last caution. We were stuck in traffic all night long, but we stayed out on the second to last caution, and we got that quick yellow, and that allowed us to get track position, and we were able to keep it up there.
And speaking of being able to keep it up there, it really felt like your car, especially this race out of all three, this has really been your most consistent race of the three. And you were able to really stay out of trouble most of this race here. What was it like for you having to fight through traffic compared to when you had that open air there towards the end?
Well, obviously, having to fight through traffic's tough, especially with the group of the guys that we have. A lot of good guys, a lot of fast guys in traffic. But once we got in clean air, we just kind of sailed. We had help from our teammates. Appreciate the help we had. Just couldn't quite get that win, unfortunately.
All right, SP.
I mean, Flash. Once this race, definitely, you got the good one. Honestly, take me through. I mean, we both started in the rear of the race, and but surely just worked. Not anything. A few laps, like really good, or just up a little bit by the pack. Or was there nothing you could have done, or maybe extra blocks? Take me kind of through those.
Yeah, there was really nothing we could do. We probably could have made one or two more good blocks, but it wasn't enough, unfortunately. INF was just quick at the end. So was Pluto, but we tried our best. Really wanted that win. So was LRS, for a matter of fact. I can't forget about LRS. He was quick too. So was Tater. The entire top five was quick. We thought we had it. We really thought we had it, but we just got ran down by the cars behind us, and there was just nothing we could do when the cars caught us behind us.
Yeah, for sure, and I was about it too. I mean, you've been so close so many times last for a cup win. I even mentioned the one. Go into much detail about that. It kind of gave the right place at the right time. Right, going forward. I know very season. How look at and kind of move on forward with these?
Well, we have Iowa next week. Really excited for Iowa, obviously. Love short tracks. I don't quite remember what's after Iowa. Atlanta. We're going to try and win the IST, hopefully. But look forward to Atlanta. For the rest of the season, obviously, we're in solid points position right now. And we're just going to try and get into the playoffs again for the second year in a row. And we'll go from there once we get there.
Sounds good. Well, nice talking to you, Mr. Dylan Blevins. Nice job on your.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And then we move from the driver who finished fourth. We're not going to get the guy who finished second, I don't think. But that just means that we get room for the winner. So the third different winner here in UTLR this season, the driver of the number 21 machine, Mr. INF himself, driving really from about the middle of the pack to the front of the pack to the back of the pack, back to the front, and being able to keep it out front there, INF. What was that race like for you, having to fight through traffic so many times? Maybe we've got INF.
Good answer. Yep. Mm-hmm. I like what he's saying. Saying a lot of knowledgeable stuff right there.
Yeah. Firstly, this might be a little bit scuffed just because I'm having some audio issues, so I'm having to like relay through the stream like what you guys are saying. But it was definitely tough in the early stages trying to get through the field. Obviously, with the aggression and with 3 wide and how that was going. It made trying to make your moves very difficult, and when you're trying to make up ground like that, and there's caution every other lap where you get tapped up the track and you slide further back. It's always going to be tough, but thankfully once we made it through the mid pack and got more towards the front, it seems to kind of subside and good to finally get a steady pace going throughout the race.
And being able to keep that pace throughout the race, obviously we saw you in the back, but it definitely felt like pit strategy and track position was really going to be your best friend in this race, and you were definitely able to make the most of it. So what kind of pit strategy were you having to invoke here just to be able to stay up there towards the front, especially with that last pit stop there towards the end?
Yeah, again, sorry for the long wait. I'm like trying to wait for the stream to catch up. But for the pit strategy to try and keep it up front, obviously there are a lot of people that throughout the run would go and try and take 2 tires and then try and take no tires, maybe just fuel to try and keep up in the positions. So obviously once they cycled up, you have to try and fight a little more, trying to get that track position back, trying to keep the car in clean air and just trying to keep it out of harm's way. But yeah, thankfully, I think with how our pits went, we were able to maintain the advantage through the tires and through the track position and allow us to stay competitive whenever that field kind of shuffled a bit.
There you go. SP?
Yeah, I mean, INF, I know you're going to have a little delay, so I'll be patient on this. But yeah, INF, you kind of drove through the field more times than I can count on my hand. A lot of wrecks here and there. You got into some, you missed some. And it came down to you and Pluto there at the end. It looked like you kind of got into him just a little bit there. Did you kind of hit the apron and check up there, or did you misjudge the corner? I kind of didn't really get a good angle of it, but I mean, you got the win either way. Was that kind of the move right there, or was there a little mistake out of the 9? Just kind of a little curious on that little move right there.
Yeah, so on the move on the 9, I know obviously first of all I want to apologize because obviously we were having a very good race up until that point, and it does suck to kind of have that happen. But with my view going into the corner, how I saw it as I ran towards the middle, I never hit the apron. I kind of ran more up towards the middle to try and he was on the outside, so obviously he's going to get the run out of the corner. So if I maintain the middle, I can try and maybe take away a little bit of that advantage. And I kept it stuck in the middle. And then kind of where it's going to get a little dicey, I feel like I held my line. Obviously, he may feel a little bit indifferent on that, but I felt like from my perspective, I held the line in the middle. He may have turned down a little bit, maybe not expecting that I was maybe that far up the track, and then he tapped me, went up the track, and hit. Obviously, I do want to extend an apology to the nine. I understand that. Obviously, in his situation, it's been a long time since he's been in victory lane, especially with what happened last year at Vegas, or in this very race. He came about a tenth behind the photo finish in loss. And it does suck to have a good race and like that amongst the front, because it kind of derails the feeling of you just won a race after not racing the first 2 rounds. You won. That's awesome. First Cup career win. That's cool. But now I got to deal with this. And I mean, it kind of sucks, and I'm willing to accept blame. I mean, if it ends up looking like that, I don't personally feel like it was like down on my end, but that's just racing how it is sometimes.
For sure. And you mentioned also it was your first race back after being, suspended the first 2 races. Sounds like someone who's in this party too that got suspended for a race or 2. Oh, hey, look, it's me.
I was about to be like, hey, I didn't do anything, my guy.
I got suspended. We won't talk about that. I got suspended for Daytona. But anyway, I definitely back. First race of the season, third race in, and you already won a race. You're already locked into the playoffs. How does this kind of boost your confidence, knowing that you already got a race win on your belt and your first start here in UTLR in the Cup Series? Okay.
Yeah, obviously the confidence levels are going to be very high. Las Vegas has definitely been a bit special for me. Obviously, with how the start of the season went out, it obviously feels good to get that burden off my shoulder. Like, all right, I was in the hole, now I'm kind of out of the hole. Now it's just, showing that's not a fluke, and just keep maintaining that consistency, especially with, the cars kind of circulating each and every week, and, tire wear drought type of track, and, with how competitive the field is. I mean, there are a lot of very fast people in this, so it's about, just establishing that, hey, this isn't a one-time deal. I'm here to stay, and I'm very happy that I'm able to be competing in the Cup Series.
Yeah, for sure. Welcome to the Cup Series, INF. Congrats on the win. All right, go ahead, Ian. Now you can talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats on the victory there, INF, and we will see what you are able to bring next week when we go from the 1.5 miles to an even shorter track here, the 3/4 miles at Iowa Speedway. But until then, this has been Ian McClintock here from the Studios. Again, appreciate SVU joining in and helping out there with the last stage. And the next time we see you guys will be next Wednesday from the Iowa Speedway. But until then, take it easy, be safe, love each other how you would your neighbor. We'll talk to you then. Until then, good night.